We'll open up with a brief statement from Coach just about off-season, looking ahead, and then we'll take questions from you guys.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I really appreciate you guys coming out today. It means a lot to have so much coverage for our program. It's been a really fun and exciting off-season for us. I'm just so proud of everybody on our roster. It's been probably a group that's done more than what's been required of them out of any team I've ever coached. And so you love to see that, obviously, as a coach, and players that really want to be in the gym and that are working really hard on their craft. We've got quite a few new faces on our roster, 5 true freshmen, with 2 of them being international student athletes that didn't get here until August. But everybody else was here in June and July, and that included 3 grad transfers. So it's a really mature team. They've just got a great mindset coming into practices. They've been extremely competitive, really high energy, and just very businesslike. They work hard, they have fun, but they've just been such a joy to coach. I think this off-season they've really recalibrated me, and it's been fun to see a team that competes so hard, that really challenges each other, but they have incredible support of each other. And I think going into the season, we knew that we wanted to get a little bit deeper in regards to our rotation. We needed more size. We needed more depth. And, some points of emphasis this offseason have really been habits of greatness. We want to be really connected in our ability to communicate with each other on the court, offensively, defensively, in huddle situations. And, another point of emphasis has been just in our aggressiveness defensively. We want to be a little bit more aggressive, getting out in passing lanes, and I've seen a lot of improvement in that area. And then also just points per possession. And how do you do that? You've got to play quicker in transition, so you've got to be in really good shape. You've got to take advantage of opportunities to go, 2 for 1 at the end of quarters. You've got to do a better job getting second shot opportunities with your offensive rebounding. We've got to have a stronger assist to turnover ratio, and we've got to really be on point with our defensive rebounding. And so, those are some things that we've really focused on, but seen a lot of growth. I think they're where their feet are. It's one day at a time. We just have the approach of we got to win it. We got to win the day, and that's the mindset. And it's been just a really fun group to coach. So we're looking forward to the season.
Last time I talked to you, it was pretty early in practices. Now that you've had a couple weeks under your belt here, how do you feel like these new faces have kind of meshed with this group?
Yeah, it's our freshmen, I think, are mature beyond their years. Our young ladies from Croatia and Germany, I think, have had really great pro experience. So they've played on a pretty high level, representing their countries. I think our core group returning has done a great job of just kind of setting the standard, and that's really the big thing. I think when you get your players that are willing to set that standard and hold each other accountable to that, that's when you have a pretty special group. And I just want to be there to challenge them and support them, and continue to really just have the mindset of let's win today, like I alluded to. But it's a super mature team, and their approach to our workouts has been outstanding.
Coach, how special is it to have Haley Frank back and the special honor today?
Yeah, really cool. Happy for her. She's earned it. She's been an incredible ambassador for our program since the day she stepped foot on campus. In the community, I think she understands her responsibility as a role model. And then certainly, I think she's one of the best shooters in the SEC, and so really cool, I think, for her. And again, it's a preseason recognition, but that she's so well respected by the coaches. I think for the media sometimes it can be hard because with this transfer portal, you never know what to expect. You got players that leave, players that come in, and in the preseason there's a lot of question marks, but I think to receive that honor from the coaches, it speaks volumes about the respect that they have for her.
When you talk about preseason honors, preseason rankings, expectations that people set in the preseason, do you guys take fuel from that type of stuff that comes out in the preseason?
We don't talk about it a lot. I'm sure the players do. That would be a great question to ask them. But, it is what it is. Every year you have those preseason, polls and whatnot. But our focus again is just really on being the best version of ourselves we can be one day at a time, and just continuing to improve and kind of push that needle. And I think our players have done a really good job of that. A lot of players that have improved tremendously in the off season. Obviously, Haley Frank is, just continues to elevate her game. I'm excited for her. But players that you don't hear a lot about, I think Avery Kroenke has had an incredible off season. Just brings so much toughness and grittiness and competes, and I think she's really done a great job of trying to play with more pace. She's so explosive, but that pace that she's got to play with, done a really good job defensively and offensive rebounds. Ashton Judd, I thought she had a tremendous June and July. Really put a lot of time in. I mean, she did 2-a-days just about every day of the summer, and so it's been fun to see the growth in her, and we're going to need her to step up. I think Mama Dembele is another young lady that I've seen a lot of growth in. The point of emphasis for her this offseason was to be able to finish at a higher rate around the rim and to be able to play with that kind of pace that we need, because she's so quick and so explosive, and she's done a really tremendous job of that. I think in the practices so far since we started statting in September, she's one of our leading field goal percentage shooters, and so finishing at a much higher rate than she had been. She's always been a really good defender. We just want to build that endurance and that foundation so she can go longer spurts of, just getting up 90 feet from the basket and guarding the way she's capable of.
Coach, you've had the Porter sisters, you've had the Cunningham sisters. Now you have 3 Linthicum sisters on the team. I don't know if any Division I team's ever done that.
Probably not. We had the Stock sisters too, and that was a while back. But there's something I think pretty special about the family dynamics, and the Linthicums are so passionate about the University of Missouri, and it runs deep through that family bloodline. And so to understand the history and the traditions, and to really have pride in who you're representing in the front of the jersey is really cool. But all 3 of them are pretty unique in their own way. Hannah's really doing some great things for us. I think her athleticism, her height, just how rangy and lengthy she is. So I think she's got a chance to really have a great career here. Sarah Lithcom, I think, is just such a hard-nosed competitor. She competes at everything she does. She's been a really good leader for us. Micah, it's nice that she's finally had a preseason where she's been pretty healthy. I think every year she's been here, she's had some kind of injury in the preseason that's kind of put her behind a little bit, and so it's been nice that she's had that, been healthy going into the season.
Saw Haley Troop hanging around, has she been helping out in the
Yeah, still got Haley Troop. I tell you what, I wish we had 7 years for her. I guess we do. She's a GA now on her 7th year. But, I just got so much respect for her. I think in a day and age where it's easy to kind of hop around a little bit, but she's been here, for 6 years, and now she's a graduate assistant, and it's so fun to still watch her compete on the court. She's playing so free, and, how do you capture that mindset and instill it in your current players, that you're not playing not to make mistakes, but you're just kind of playing with that freedom and that confidence. And I know she's somebody that our players rely on heavily, just as somebody that has walked a mile in their shoes, but she's been doing a tremendous job, and excited to have her around for another season.
When you talk about the new faces and all the newcomers, how much would an exhibition game help in, especially kind of getting them together, and did it not come together this offseason?
Can you rephrase that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, just I know last year you played an exhibition game at Northwest Missouri State.
Yeah.
I didn't see one on the schedule. I was wondering if you had one in the works, or if that would help at all.
Yeah, for sure. So we've already had one close scrimmage. We went to SIUE, which was kind of nice to just get on a bus and, go experience what traveling would look like. It was a day trip, so we were there and back. But I think, the first time that we've had officials, so that was good. And then we'll have another one here in a couple days. It'll, again, be a close scrimmage. We haven't done a lot of those in the past. Typically, they're exhibitions. I think there's pros and cons to both. Playing under the bright lights on that stage with fans, I think, is important. But I also think being in a closed scrimmage where you can do more situational stuff and really break it down the way you want to with, whoever that opponent is valuable too. So those scrimmages have been nice, and then hopefully we'll have officials for a couple of our practices yet leading up to our Belmont game.
Talk about a couple weeks and some change, I guess, until the first game. You know, you had these close scrimmages, but how nice is it going to be to go against someone else and kind of have that real environment?
Well, as a coach, we love our practices, so we're good, but as players, I know they're kind of starting to chomp at the bit. It's getting to that point, but their ability to maintain just how hard they're competing against each other, despite that it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks, 32 actual days before you can play, when you factor in when we started. You kind of know each other's tendencies a little bit, you know the playbook, you know the reads, and so it gets a little bit more challenging. We've got a great group of scout guys that has helped us, so that does make a difference. But I know that they're anxious to kind of size themselves up, and tip off for real, for sure, against Belmont.
When you talk about the need to get deeper and kind of bigger, what does Angie kind of bring in that need, especially to get bigger?
Yeah, Angie's got a chance to be really special, really, really efficient around the rim. She's also a tremendous out-of-area rebounder, and just brings size and athleticism. She's not 6'3", but she's really powerful and explosive, and to put her in screen and roll situations has been really good. She's really good just running in transition, to be able to get some early looks early and put some pressure on the defense to either make sure they're guarding her or get out to the shooters and give her opportunities to go one-on-one. But she's got a pretty elite skill set. I'd like to see her build a little bit more confidence with her perimeter game. But I think she's a piece that we haven't had in the past, and I think that's a huge addition and something that we really targeted in the offseason, knowing that that's a positional need.
I know it's just been practice, but what have you seen Grace Slaughter bring to this group so far?
Yeah, all of our freshmen have been just off the charts phenomenal. Just the way they show up, the way they compete, their leadership skills, their work ethic. Grace Slaughter in particular, since you asked, really high ceiling. She's got a really strong skill set, can shoot the three, stretch the court, but really good off the bounce. Defensively, she's further along than I thought she would be, so that's really encouraging. Probably a point of emphasis for her is continuing to focus on that rebounding out of area. But she's a young lady that I anticipate will see a lot of minutes for us and be a big part of that rotation.
Coach, what sort of leap has Haley made this offseason, and where do you maybe see her game growing as she goes into this year?
Yeah, Haley Frank.
Yeah.
Obviously, Troops made some. I'm so used to two Haleys for so long, but for Frankie, she has put in a lot of work this offseason too. I think a lot of what she's done. I think when you get to a certain point in your career, just understanding your body and what your body needs and the nutrition, and really getting in, for recovery and the strength that how she wants her body to be shaped, and so. Not just on the court, but off the court decision making, I think, has been outstanding. I think she's grown more comfortable in being a vocal leader for us. She's always had an incredible work ethic on the court. That's never been up for discussion. But I think she's getting a little bit more comfortable with the ball in her hands too. Facing up, not just relying on catch and shoot threes, but being able to do a little bit more off the bounce as well.
What would her having more creation ability on the perimeter, what would that open up for you?
Yeah, we're big in transferring that advantage, and she's going to create so much attention. I mean, again, I think she's one of the best shooters in the SEC, and so she's going to be on everybody's scouting reports. And so just to be creative on how you're coming off screens, whether they're flare screens, pin downs, really doing a good job of being mindful of how your defense is playing you. In those cases, the defense is always wrong. There's always a counter to everything that you can do on the offensive end. And so I just think, studying the film, watching practices, but also making sure she's getting those game-like shots and working on a quicker release as well, because she's going to be, like I said, just on everybody's scouting report.
Coach, you've talked so much this offseason about how connected this group is. From teams you've coached in the past, and honestly, any life scenario where you've seen groups of people interacting for long periods of time, what does elite connectivity look like in practice?
Yeah, so we've had some other really good teams, and I never really want to compare the two. I'm just telling you what this team is, and that's something I think as we went into our recruitment. You recruit certain players that you think fit into your system and the culture that you have and your core values, but you never know. You never know 100%, and so really encouraging just out of the gates in June just how organic these relationships were formed. And I think it speaks volumes about the kind of young ladies that we've recruited. I think that it kind of goes back to just the maturity of our team. Even our freshmen mature beyond their years, and then you've got a couple of grad transfers that have been in different programs and have had different experiences, and then that core group that we have returning. So it's pretty special in regards to that. I think it's easy to find teams that are going to challenge each other. But the key there is our team's going to support each other as well. And I feel like these young ladies do a tremendous job of, when things are going well, to challenge each other for more, and when they're not, their ability to support each other and build each other up. And when you talk about elite level connectivity, it's things like that. Now, do we have areas that we got to get better in regards to the connectivity defensively, rotations, transition defense? 100%. But they continue to move the needle every day, and that's one of the reasons that I'm so excited about this group.
Obviously, Sophie came back for homecoming here. Did she come talk to the group at all?
She did. We had a good group of alumni back. It was really fun to, so many memories with these young ladies, and I think it's important that our current players understand the history and the people that have come before them, and so we try to always be very intentional about that. Understand whose jersey you're wearing. Somebody came before you. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears go into a 4-year career, so it was fun to have so many back, and obviously Sophie's just had such a great career. So excited for her, and she always brings a lot of energy to the gym, so it's always great to see her as well as everybody else.
We'll take one or two more and then we'll get the players in here.
How do you see the point guard rotation kind of playing out? Obviously, a couple departures, but Delilah coming in. I know Avery can handle the ball. Mama coming back. What's that rotation look like so far?
Yeah, so we're still waiting to find out the waiver status for Delilah. So that's a big question mark that we'll probably find out sooner than later. But I think Mama will have a lot of minutes, but I think Avery has really made great strides to be able to kind of be a tag team approach. Avery has had a tremendous offseason, and we've played her both at the off guard as well as the point guard, and so making sure she's getting quality reps of both. Again, I think for us to get the most out of Mama, it's being mindful of those minutes and giving her quick breathers here and there. In the past, maybe we haven't had the ability to do that or the luxury to do that, but I think what we've seen out of Avery so far has been really, really good, and I think that will just allow Mama to pick up more in the full court, which I think is one of her strengths.
We'll take one more. All right.
All right. Appreciate you guys coming out.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys.